Keep inhaling further. Inhale for 5 more seconds. Now stay in the Kumbhaka position for 10 seconds. Now start exhalation. Exhale further and exhale completely. Stay in the Shunyaka position. For 10 seconds. Now start rubbing your palms. Gently place them on your eyes. And open your eyes with a smile on your face. I want all of you to switch on your videos. Good to see Akshay back with us. So let us take this opportunity to welcome Ganesha. Sir has just joined in. Let me just confirm. Good morning, sir. So Ganesh sir is here with us. Sir, you can unmute yourself.
Hey, hi, Himakant. You will hear?
Yes, yes. You're audible, sir.
All right, thank you.
A very good morning and thanks for joining us, sir.
Hey, very, very good morning to you, all of you guys. It's my pleasure always.
Yes, sir. So all of them have joined much before 5 o'clock. We have 50 plus students joining around in the 4 sector, and all thanks to you. And they're just waiting for a good trigger to start their exam preparation, sir. So the notification has been out recently. So their exams would be starting around July 5th.
I thought it was May 21st, right?
Actually, it got postponed due to the COVID.
No.
So
I'm not answering. I'm not answering to your point that it was July 5th. I said starting preparation. If you said July 5th, original was May 21st.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely, yes.
So okay.
So you should address that also. Ideally, it should have been covered by May 21st itself, but then still it's still happening. So yeah. Sir, what I'll do is I have made a quick PPT. I'll share them for 5 to 10 minutes, and the floor is all yours, sir. If you allow me, I'll just share the PPT.
Go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Is my screen visible to all of you? Yeah, thanks for confirmation. Yes. So today we are meeting for back to school, and we are going to celebrate this quite often. So every month there will be a back to school initiative, preferably on Sundays, and we'll be bringing all industry leaders like Ganesh. And this is the agenda for today. We have Ganesh sir, followed by Raghunath sir, and finally we have a clear-cut and specific pinpointed discussion on the strategy to clear your CA exams in 30 days. The first session. So if you ask me why Ganesh sir, it's not just about being a partner in Deloitte, but the point is 99% of the days, the first message which I would get is from him. It would range anywhere between 3 a.m. to 4:30. So each and every single day, there is a very powerful and positive message. And I have never even witnessed a single day where he missed a message, and it's generally before 5 o'clock. So I am extremely inspired by him, and I still stand inspired. So there is not, we can't have a better person than himself representing this idea of building a powerful routine in the morning. Even in general, he has a fantastic routine. So we'll discuss that as we proceed forward. I'll quickly help you understand what Sir has done, and that'll help you know the possibilities of this particular qualification. So this is his brief profile. Currently, he has completed 25 years of experience, 25 years of experience, guys. Some of you might be around 25, and is the official management, I would say office managing partner for both Hyderabad and Vijayawada offices. And he also heads the L&D segment, which is very important in any Big Four, the learning and development segment. He heads the entire South Asia cluster, and is also very well connected with ICI, especially if you're doing your campus, I would say residential GMCS after after you qualify CA 1 month at COE. Most of them, even my sister met him first at that junction. So he's actively involved in many other institute committees, and there is a long list in which he's a part of. The most important point is he always stays connected with students in one form or the other, and he always keeps sharing his knowledge. And I have never ever got no from him where I bring forth any initiative. He'll be the first one to respond. He'll be the first one to review. So it's a privilege to have him here. And I'll also tell you, he's a CPA as well, not just a chartered accountant, cost accountant, because in the last discussion, we had many students asking, should we do CPA also, or would it add some value? He's the right person. So we'll start with why do we need a routine? I'll just quickly set the context in 2-3 minutes before I hand over the entire proceedings to Ganesh sir. So we looked at his introduction. I'll share the introduction to each and every one of you in the app. So as a part of this 5-step framework, when I say this 5-step framework, this is what we are recommending any student to have to clear any exam in India. And we recently shared a testimonial where a doctor attended this, and he also felt that this is very relevant. In this 5-step framework, routine becomes very important. When I say routine, we are talking about these 5 aspects in a given day. So no matter what you do, no matter what anyone does, it is very important to have a power start. So when I'm talking about power start, we need to take off. The day has to take off. And for that, we are having something called Magic of Mornings, which you are currently in. Next, I'm talking about time exploitation. Exploitation will give some level of negative connotation, but the point is, I'm talking about mastery of time, not just management, mastery of time. When time is given, you can exploit it in such a way that each and every single second can be used. And he's a pro in that. So we are looking at time compression techniques. When it's a double down break, each and every given day, if you're dividing into two systematic halves, your day will be far more productive, and you can plan two different things. Let's say you want to study two different subjects. This is how you can do it. And the other one, apart from time, the other dimension or the other limitation is energy. So we need to ensure we are utilizing our energy in the most optimum manner. So energy is far more scarce than time because it gets exhausted. Time, you have some hacks around to make the most of it. And finally, once you take off, you need a very, very safe landing. You definitely would need a safe landing. So when I say safe landing, we are going to conclude it at the end of the night. I would say every night we meet at 9 p.m., right? So we are going to make sure we carry forward all the positivity, we set off all the negativity, and we ensure whatever subject or skill which you have picked up, we'll have a quick review of the day. So this is the objective. And specifically talking about routine, in a very simple way, routine is a sequence of actions. It could be 4 actions, 5 actions, 10 sequence of actions follow regularly. And why do we actually need a routine? I would say anything which we repeat over a period of time. It could be waking up early, or it could be sending a powerful and positive message like what Ganesh said us, or doing a mom session. Anything which we have to do repeatedly, it it creates a routine. And if you think about why we are not able to form a routine, if you think about what exactly is the issue in forming a routine, we always have the habit of replicating things that work. Let's say in a given day, if your day is not so productive, you don't see a reason why you should actually repeat it. So unless you see and experience a good routine for a period of say 2 3 days or for a week, it will be really difficult for you to create it. So first you need to experience it. Even for you to experience it, you need somebody's push or you need somebody's hand holding to ensure you will know what exactly is the possibility of a powerful routine. I'm lucky because I had this interaction with multiple mentors at a very young age, so that worked for me. So this is what I'm trying to replicate for most of you also. And finally, this is the reason why all these 21 days are challenges are very popular. They'll help you build a powerful routine. And as we discussed, why you cannot form a routine, these are the challenges. We keep trying something, it doesn't stick, it doesn't work, so we don't find a reason to replicate it. And finally, why do you need, as students, why do you need a routine? It's important because you have scarce resources, both in terms of time and both in terms of energy. And also, you have multiple priorities. So, if you have to prioritize, and most importantly, if you have to implement the way you have prioritized, it is very important to have a very, very powerful routine. So, this is what I had to offer in terms of setting up a context. And let us now listen from Ganesh sir about how he manages his whole routine and what is his take on it. And he is somebody who has cleared CACW and CPA, so it definitely would have something very specific for you. Sir, please take the session from now. We'll be honored to have your insights on building a powerful routine, sir.
All right, thank you, Markant, and a very good morning to every one of you. I hope everybody is doing well and safe. I'm really impressed, Himakant, I will always say him, because everything is surrounds around him, right? When he talked about a doctor, his wife is also a doctor, so he surrounds with him. So it's easier to reach out to a doctor fraternity. But having said this, it's a great opportunity for me to share. I do not know how much anyone can influence others. I always believed and continue to believe every individual will be able to influence himself or herself. It is not that Himakant is running this routine at 6 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and therefore tomorrow you're a transformed soul. No, it's about you, all about you. It's how do you transform? And why do you need to start early? I mean, this is something which, we have been taught, not now, but we have been taught if you talk to your parents, your grandparents, they would know why do we start early. When you start early, you got 24 hours. When you start late, you cut down X number of hours. And therefore, what is important is that you should start your day early. Now, today, When you wake up, let's say at 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock, between 4 and 8, before anybody gets up, you've got so much of 4 hours of productive time, no disturbance, no avenues for you to have sounds. Everybody will be in sound sleep. And absolutely the energy is the best in the morning. So routine, when you talk about, routine is not something what is defined in a rule book. Routine is not defined in something as an activity. Routine is what you define for your own self. And that is what is routine is all about. And why are we talking about positive or powerful routine? Powerful routine is again, is the commitment. It's your attitude to achieve what you have set out for yourself for that day. I would not say that you will do a routine today, Sunday. Okay, Sunday means my routine is I will sleep till 12 o'clock. I will not take a shower. I will have my food and I'll be done with it. Or I'll just watch my mobile phones and be done with it. One of the biggest challenges that we are facing with the young kids is not because that when I talk about young kids, it's about all of you, is not that you do not have the commitment to learn. The problem is you've got as same as much the commitment to learn, you've got so much of avenues to be diverted. And the greatest diversion that you have is the mobile phone that you have with you. You have the greatest diversion that you have is the diversion that you would gossip for hours together, which is unproductive. It does not produce anything. The greatest challenge that you have is you are not a continuous learner. You have to have a lifelong learning. Learning is continuous. Even before Imakant asked me what needs to be done, I had prepared for something. Suddenly, yesterday evening, he changed the topic for what I'm going to speak, and suddenly he said, "This is what is going to be a powerful." I was just surprised as because the speed at which he's changing the subject for me, from a normal routine of preparation, I thought I'm going to motivate and talk about the lessons. And he said, "No, I want you to talk about powerful routine." And it sends me, not, he doesn't send me, he just sends me, this is what is, I've put it up with you as well as with Raghu. And this one, and then I have to search, what is it I'm going to talk? So therefore, your adaptability, the point is your adaptability to make sure that anything that you plan can go wrong or can go differently. So therefore, you need to be adaptable. Adaptability is the challenges that one you will not be able to define. That is one which is within your control, the one which is not outside of your control. Outside of your control is where you cannot plan, but you can anticipate. Anticipation is a key aspect for all of us. Now, how do you anticipate? And an anticipation is not about going and working and somebody giving you a task as an article student going to. Anticipation is, if I've been asked to perform a task, how do I excel in that? Anticipation is in that aspect of learning. Anticipation is not an aspect of when can I go home and start doing my other things. When you are a learner and when you are a student, your commitment should be only be as a student and nothing more. If you have to commit that you have to pass the exam, it is not cut, copy, paste jobs. The biggest challenge that we have with all the students is there are so many people who will come and give you guidances. There are so many literatures that are available with you. There's so many videos that play with you. But what you do not know, who is talking the right thing? It is you who has to look at those aspects of it and plan and execute it. For instance, we never had this videos sort of a thing. We never had teachers who would give, say, A for apple, B for ball, and then ask you to remember. We never have teachers who would be saying that this is how you should remember. Now, we were given the task that, like any other school, we used to go at 6 o'clock, work with someone like a professor who is or a teacher who is to teach us, but come back and prepare with more of 5 or 6 books. That brings the concept of reading. We do not do learning through reading. We learn through what is given to us. The way you transform learning through reading, when I say reading, there is a connect between your mind and what you write. What you write is what actually gets registered. That's the difference between a shallow learning and a deep learning. When you talk about a shallow learning, is like, for instance, you're studying, somebody calls you, somebody texts you, you look at this. You're actually not doing a deep learning. You're actually doing a shallow. You're studying here, you're looking here. You're studying here, you're looking here. Absolutely, there is no commitment by you to learn this. When you have a commitment to learn, then whatever you learn gets registered the first time. When you have the learning habit of putting everything into writing, when you go and reflect back what you've learned, it is not about how you've learned, how many chapters you've completed. It is about what is that you will do to recall. So our recalling ability is what is very, very important to establish as to what time that we have spent as we really spent effectively. The recalling becomes an essential aspect of it. You don't plan your task at the beginning of the day. You plan a task at the beginning of a week, even before the beginning of the week. And you'll fine tune it to the task which is split into various components. For instance, if you go to a kitchen and you see your mother cooking for you, what does she do? She doesn't put everything together. She plans her things, she cuts her vegetables, she gets the vessels, she gets each of the item prepared. One which takes time comes first, one which comes later. For instance, cooking a vegetable takes more time than cooking a rice in a rice cooker is much faster. So therefore, you need to think through what is the best that you can do, which will take time. That is what you should do it in the morning. The best time for learning is in the morning. The best time is when everybody is asleep and you can give the 100%. I won't say 200%. You have to give 100%. 100% is not on time. 100% is in your commitment to see that I will perform this task. The way you start your day, you get up in the morning, oh, today it's really raining, I don't know. The day you start, the way you think through when you start your day is what makes your day more effective. If you start your day saying that cribbing, then your day is throughout the day, you can see yourself cribbing through it. If you start your day that I'm going to complete the task, then that is what I will demonstrate that yes, I will complete. And you will see that when you write an exam, the moment you click the first question, the rest of the questions are faster. The moment you are struck in the first question, the easiest question also becomes tougher. So therefore, what is important, when you get a paper, don't look at the paper, look at what you can relate to and start with it. The moment you set up saying that I'm going to do, and this becomes easier, you are actually relaxing, your mind relaxes, and that will help even the most toughest question to answer, even if you may not know the answer, but somewhere you've got the subconscious memory. The subconscious memory is called the recall memory, and that is what you need to invest in it. How do you do it? You have to study, study, study. But what do you study? The studying is not just covering chapters. Studying is not about just completing whatever the curriculum. Study is I make a note of what I did. I go back and check and make sure it becomes continuous. I'm not sure how many people set up a calendar or set a task or set some sort of a routine thing. Because when you talk about a routine has got time. You split your time. As much as got tasks, you split your quadrants. You got 24 hours. How many hours you give time for your sleep? That is one quadrant. How much of time that you give it for your other aspects of whether taking a shower, going to a washroom, eating. That's how much time do you split between your free time and how much time do you split to your talking time or studying time. If you were to look at it, The sleeping time is not in your control. The sleeping time is something which you will do depending upon, because you don't set up. You don't set up that I will go to sleep at 10 and wake up at 4 o'clock. If you do that, that becomes a routine. But if you do not do that, you say, I only study in the night. I can only do it in the night, but I'm not an early getter. Transform that. If you transform yourself from a late night to an early morning, what you cannot accomplish in those 4 hours or 5 hours, you will be able to accomplish in that 1 or 2 hours. So having the time quadrant becomes very, very important. It is not, when we all do, when we all learn, we actually focus on inputs. We do not focus on the output. What is that it is expected of you? If your input is to study, what is your output? The output should be for you to pass. And that is where we do not focus on. If we focus that this is what I have to do, I have to achieve. What is that I have to do now to achieve that passing of things? That will make you make your things much, much more simpler and much, much more clear. One of the things which you need to do is have the energy with you. Now, the energy is, how do you get that energy? And I think I want you to take a couple of things before you do. How much of your time that you spend to exercise? I'll tell you what happens. A sport or an exercise or anything, any medium, could be a music, could be anything. In all of these, there is this element of concentration. There is the element of commitment. There is the element of routine, right? You cannot start a sport without actually doing what is called a warm-up exercise. So you go to a gym, you need to do a warm-up exercise. If you go and play a sport, similar thing has to be done. If you do yoga, you can't just start with anything. There is what is called a warm-up fatigue. When you have all of these, and which has got a schedule, you can't be doing yoga or play a sport at 1 o'clock when it's your lunchtime. As much as that, if you have to do something which is called a routine, you need to put it in the calendar. But it's just not putting in the calendar. What is also important is, do you follow what you write? Do you feel yourself guilty that if you do not complete that task, if you do not follow the routine, there is something which hurts you? Only those that hurts you will make you a better person. Let's say you are in a friendship, you're in a group, somebody hurts you. Somebody says you are the most poorest student, you are not achieving. It hurts you, it pinches your ego. But if you still brood over it, you will not be able to achieve. You need to think back, reflect back and say, hey, listen, am I going to be the same person? Or am I going to challenge somebody and say, I want to prove somebody something is not right, I'm much better capable of. Each individual who are here in this group are as capable as Himakant. The only difference which Himakant is that he invests in learning. Be a lifelong learner. Now, how do you do that? Learning is not about when I take a book, read. Learning is about teaching back. The more you teach back, the more you will learn, the more you will recall, the more you will recollect, the more the subconscious will. So if you are studying a topic, that's the reason those days you used to have what is called a group study. A group study was intended to share ideas, to share knowledge, to share things. Group study is not when you go to the exam, did you study that paper? Did you put that paper? Did you look at this? Don't create that fear. A group study is that where you set out a time where you learn and ask questions to the other person's answers, you reflect upon your learning, go back and revise. That is the importance of it. If you have to be a better student, you have to teach back. You have to be the person who can teach back what you've learned. How will you learn? It is again updating yourself on a regular basis. You always should be prepared to go that extra mile. Extra mile is one which pushes you to a corner. When you do an exercise, right, when you pick up a weight, at some point in time, you will feel there is a pressure on your hand. At that point in time, you want to give it up. But if you go that extra mile, probably what you would have achieved in, let's say, 5, 6 days, you will achieve in 3 days. That going that extra mile is very critical. Going the extra mile is not about going to the next 30 days and saying, this is the extra mile I'm doing. Going that extra mile is what I've learned and what is the gap that would be expected in the exam. That is what I have to do it. And if I'm prepared for an exam for about 8 hours or 10 hours or 12 hours, I'm not saying be a bookworm. Do not be a bookworm. I'm saying allocate time equally. Equally, I'm saying if you're mentally fit, if you're physically fit, then everything comes back together. If you're physically not fit, you'll not be mentally fit. If you're not mentally fit, whatever you want to achieve, you'll not be able to achieve. The other aspect which is very important, anything you do it with passion. You will learn cooking with passion. You do your articleship, do with passion. Take your CS course, do with passion. Anything you do with passion is what will drive you. Anything which does not have passion, if suppose somebody pushes you to do it, you will not have passion, you only have force. If you do not like something, you're just wasting your 3 years. Do not waste your time. If you think you are not capable to do CA, do not do CA. Because what drives you is what will make you successful. The stronger the learning, the more you learn, the more you implement, the successful you would. Success is not defined by the money that you earn. No. Success is defined by the commitment and the ever learning ability and converting that learning ability into implementation and redoing it as a part of the discourse. And what really happens in all of this is what you know, what you've implemented, and what you do not know, but teach back and then comes back to new learning. And that is what you need to make yourself very. Starts with baby steps. And this is something which I don't want you to take 10 subjects and start. Start with your baby steps. What are the baby steps that you do? Today, if I have to go and let's say plan my day, for instance, let's say I have to go and plan. If I have to reach, let's say there is a lockdown between 6 and 10. If I have to reach and then say, I have to come back by 10 o'clock, what is that I can do in between 6 and 10? Can I step out? Can I go and play outdoor activity? Can I go and buy a grocery? Can I go and spend time with somebody? Can I do? But I have to come back by 10. And that is what you need to do it. What you should not push everything together. You cannot say, I will make everything into one and start doing. It's like this. You have got a plate. On your plate, you've got all food put into it. Will you be able to eat? It is not possible for you. And therefore, what is important for each one of you is take that little steps. Now, 30 days is a mantra. 30 days you can fall in love, 30 days you can learn a language, 30 days can do it. But 30 days is not your start. It is like, when you are taking a flight, when the flight has to take off, it has to taxi, it has to gain the speed, only then it can take off. If you think you're going to take off for the next 30 days to pass your exam, the answer is no. That means you have given up even for your main, because you should have been said, I should have completed all my subjects by before this May 21st exam, if there was no lockdown, if there was no postponement. But if you have not done that, then there is this gap. And please do not expect that God will come back to you and say, you can say that, I've left it to my God, I'm praying everything, I'll put all what is needed on my book, I'll put all this, I worship him. Arey Baba, you worship in your education, worship in the work that you do. That itself, God will give you that result. If you don't say, I will only pray, it's not going to work. So do not blame others for your failure. The biggest challenge that we have, suppose you are a part of a family and you find yourself that you have to take care of certain aspect of it. You always blame that because of this, I was not able to. Give one reason, even including this, how can I make my this career, how much time that I can spend to achieve my goals. If that I can demonstrate, that is what is called planning. If I start coming and sitting up and blaming somebody, I couldn't get up because I have a problem. I couldn't attend, today's seminar because I had somebody at home, or my electricity power went off, my network went. What is that I have to do to make sure my network is working? What is that I have to do if the video is supposed to be on? How much time do I have to make sure that the video is on throughout? If I do not demonstrate, if we do not demonstrate on that aspect of it, we are going behind the screen of imaging ourselves that yes, today Himakant asked me to attend. Yes, I put the attendance and then I go back, but I'm actually doing something different. Deep learning is a commitment that you have to give to yourself. Deep learning is something which comes within you. Deep learning, it should be within you throughout the period. But if you remove deep learning and relate that into the shallow learning is splitting everything, doing together, but not achieving anything. I think that is what will make your routine pretty bad. Now, if you need to plan your routine, make time quadrants. If you want to succeed, do deep learning. If you want to be successful, learn as much as you can, because learning what will make you more wealthier. I'm not saying richer, but more wealthier in terms of achieving what you want to do. Tasks have to be split into small steps. Make small steps. Make sure that you do it and make it as a habit. Habit drives your success. Habit drives your routine. Habit drives what an individual you are. Otherwise, you will remain as what you are, only you're wasting your time, your energy. By 21, if you do not achieve, or by 23, you don't achieve, you lost your prime time. The time what you've lost is gone. If you are being seen only studying, you've lost the outside world. You don't know anything what is going on. But if you complete a one task, go to the next. If you complete next, go to the another one, go to the other one. By the time you are in the profession, keep doing which makes you relevant. If you're not relevant, you are as non-existent like any other person who is on the roads, because you don't know what he is. So if you want to be relevant, be there, be visible. If you have to be visible, it is your knowledge, it is your planning, it is your routine which will make a huge difference. In submission, I would want to do your ability, your attitude, your endurance capability, your persistence, being there to achieve what you want. No one can plan for you. No other person can motivate you. It is you who can motivate yourself. Stay motivated. Put that seed in you. Make that seed to grow you into a much better person. If you put a seed of a time where you're going to say, I'm not going to achieve anything, you will be cursing yourself. The people who are with you will be cursing you. But if you put the seed and you nurture the seed, there will be a plant. After some point in time, there will be a tree, and the tree will yield you fruits. And that is the greatest example of you, as much as it relates to any nature. It is also your commitment to make sure that you have a powerful routine. I'll pause here. Thank you so much, Himakant, and I'll hand it over back to you.
Thanks for the fantastic insights, sir. And I'm glad that you covered the entire framework. So this is all encompassing knowledge for them to pick up and implement it. Sir, adding to this, one difference which I see in most of the students are the kind of productivity. Sir, if I have to compare any individual or any student at 2021 working in a big four versus studying for the same 8 hours to 10 hours in his own room, there is a significant amount of difference in how he's operating. So I always think about bringing in that project management capability in preparation. So because if you look at CA syllabus, it's not like civils, it's largely static with only 10% amendments. So what's your thought or insight on helping those students with the DNA of your big four productivity? Because I think nothing gets better than Deloitte or EY for that matter. Sir, please unmute yourself, sir.
Okay. Let me tell you that today's millennials, whether it's a big four or non-big four, have lost the ability of learning, lost the ability of keeping what they've learned. Because the ability to learn is missing, because you don't have to. That's why I said whether a big four or non-big four. I'm not from a big four, I'm from a non-big four. I learned the hardest way. I was pushed down. There was nobody to train. It's a self-learning. So the point is, whether you're in a big four or not big, I'm telling you, 4 or 5 people of the articles who joined less than a month, I've just left it because they were not able to withstand that timing. Not because they thought going to a big four is like, getting the office that you will take. In a lockdown situation, it is you and a laptop for 16 to 18 hours, and your parents look like what sort of a work you're doing. The biggest challenge comes from the parents, because they themselves do not know what is happening outside the world as to what they're doing. So what really is a problem with all the kids in the new millennials is that they are influenced, or they want that empathy from the people surrounding. Are you are doing very hard work, yeah, you are struggling. But what you're not doing with the 18 hours or 14 hours is productive working.
True.
Why do you need to work beyond 8 hours when you can accomplish the task within and work for 16 hours? Absolutely. With the same task? And that's the biggest problem, because lack of focus. And if you really ask me what is different, is lack of focus, lack of commitment. I'm not saying everybody is. I see a lot of people are bookworms. In fact, I was interviewing some of them who are gold medalists. But you ask them a topic and talk on a simple general topic, they will not be able to answer. That's because there is no exposure. So if you work in an organization like a big four, the opportunity is the training that you get. Absolutely. The exposure that you get to various kinds of the standards. Yes. The way they will teach you what you have performed, how you need to document. The way they will teach you that how do you manage peer pressures. It will teach you how the organization structure works. There are good people, there are bad people. It will teach you. But what you should remain is, your work should be reflecting about what you have achieved, not what your boss expects you to do. And that is where the gap comes with. The expectation gaps comes up between what is expected of you and what is delivered by you. And that gap is what is called stress. And that is what is called work-life balance issue. That is what is called as like, you spend time spending on something which is unproductive. So if you really were to ask, there is no distinction. Yes. Millennials today do not, millennials today are spoiled kids because the parents do everything for them. There are very few people, there are people who are struggling to do it. So when I was doing my articleship, I was teaching people because it was a question of survival. I was teaching people, I was attending class, I was working, and I was doing everything, and yet I was studying. So the question is, you're not spoon-fed. Today, if you ask my son, he's a spoon-fed. But that doesn't mean that the commitment does not go. You still need to support your family. The kid has to be taught to do some things. It cannot be that he's studying and he will not do the household work. He still has to do it. And he still has to play a sport. Because timing is the fear. The fear is what should be in you to achieve it. And the fear is you should say, I should complete within the task. As simple as that. when a kid needs to be given a food at 9 o'clock or 12 o'clock, you see the amount of the speed at which a mother works is far, far greater. And I think the greatest lessons you should learn is from your mother or your father, whoever it is, who inspires you, who plans your day effectively.
Absolutely, sir. Rightly said. Sir, exactly to plug this gap, because after working with EY, that's when I actually realized that for any individual, as you rightly pointed out, who gets the right training, there is a world of difference. So that is exactly what we are trying to bring in this mentorship process. So whatever generally would take, say, 2.5 to 3 months, if you plan it properly, if they get properly trained, they will be able to accomplish in this 1 month. And when you mention 30 days, anything can happen. When you say a lot can happen over coffee, so anything literally can happen in this 30 days. So what is it? I would say, what is that point of belief which should they go forward? Because the constant question which they get is it enough? Is it enough? Is 30 days enough? Because they just cannot believe it, irrespective of how many times they say it, even irrespective of me saying that I have done it myself. So how should that stick into their mind?
As I said, it is, practice makes man perfect. Nothing is enough. Let me tell you one. 30 days is not enough. 365 days is not enough.
Absolutely.
So it is about, that's why I said you need to have the recall memory. If you read subjects, let's say when you do what is called next 15 days, I'm saying I'm going to allot, let's say I've got 8 subjects, right? So I'm going to allot, let's say every day, because it's only going to be practice. So I have got about 30 days, right? If I divide by that, at best, I might get about 3.5 to 4 days, right? For some subjects, 4 days, some subjects, 3 days.
Yes, sir.
Am I going to use that 4 days entirely for this? Or I might say, okay, fine, 2 days I will do full, and next 2 days I will do only recall.
Yes.
Right? And that will determine your gap.
Absolutely.
The gap is not about what you go and write the exam. The gap is, if you studied, let's say 10 chapters, go back and recall first chapter, what are the significant things? What are the significant second? What is significant in third, fourth? And if you fail, go back and see the notes that you made. That will give you confidence. That is called the recall memory. That is called subconscious memory. Develop that habit of subconscious memory to recall all of these, and then things will be much more simple.
Absolutely, sir. So last couple of minutes, I'll quickly share the screen and I'll ask you some specific questions. Sir, this is with relation to your experience in the L&D, because you have one of the most powerful L&D systems in the world. So when we design this program, this is the objective using which we have designed this program. So fundamentally, we are trying to bring in some acceleration in terms of how they learn. And we are doing everything we can to ensure this would happen in a period of 1 month. And the other part is, you could do the same in 2 months or 3 months, but there is nothing which beats intensity. And we are backing it with cognitive science. And we are using all of this. One is time compression technique. So what is the delta? Can something be done in 4 hours? Can it also be done in 1 hour? Who did this? What is the average time? So we are creating all best case scenarios, all best case models. And this is exactly what we are offering in a span of a month. So as you can understand, generally in a given class of 100, the first 50, or I would say the first 2 quadrants, are always comfortable. We are able to achieve each and everything, and some of them are even exceeding this. And we even have a case study where she has got all 4 exemptions, irrespective of getting affected with COVID. So we have done all that. But my concern being, what is it we can do for the bottom quadrant also? Because definitely we would have 2-3x than the institute pass percent or any other institute. But I just want to go out and say that give me 1 month, I'll make anybody clear CA, irrespective of what is it. So in terms of your rich experience, what should I do additionally than this?
If you have the ability to go and map the capabilities of the individual, your results percentage will be higher. But unfortunately, we do not understand the matrices. The way you should do is that even before you start a session with somebody, and that's the reason If you really ask that, the Chaitanyas, all those things, what they do this testing to see who are the bright ones who will catch up and then only train them to get into that. That's the reason why they get that model of more percentage, is because they do this iteration process of who is capable of doing it.
Absolutely, sir.
And if you really have to do that, you're producing machines.
True. Yes, sir. This is the problem. Yeah. Right,
So
sir.
I'm not looking at, I'm only saying is, if you have to drive, those people should be inspired. And I always tell only one thing. Just think you as an individual and reflect upon how many people can recall you for something which you achieved.
Yes, sir.
Just think through that. And if that is there, then all of this is just incidental.
Yes, sir.
And because what drives success is not what is on the screen. What drives success is your inner desire to achieve.
True.
If I don't have that inner desire, no matter Himakant spends time, gives all theories or analysis, everything, in Indian chapter, that's all. If you have that, then the learning stops.
Yes, sir.
So if you have to get into this, how do I improve this?
Absolutely,
It is not your successful percentage. I would rather expect you to say, how many people have got inspired by this process, which is not reflected in your past sheet, but reflected in becoming a better person. Next time, if I see this instead of this passing, if you put that slide of how I was got transformed through this process, probably it is not CA alone. You transform that individual to a much better person. So next time, I don't want to see that CA certificate, but I want to see how much of, I'm very honest about it. If you measure your success through a person who has passed, that is only you are trying to give a matrices to it. You attach.
Yes, sir.
But if you give this matrices about what was this person X and what became a person Y, how much did you transform him to succeed, is what make the person individual. It is smarter can become more smart, but the person who's weak, if you make him smarter, he will achieve much more than what you would go through the process. So
absolutely, sir.
Is you next time you put the analysis, you say from ground zero, take an example within your class who had greatest challenges and ask that person to speak about how it transformed. Let it be a story of emotion, let it be a story of hard work, let it be a story of commitment and the inner desire to achieve it. If you do this, I think you will be able to do it.
And to answer this, in fact, we are focusing on 5 major pillars of life. So starting with education, followed by career, relationships, health, and wealth. So this is the ambit of entire Him Life School. And
put health first, then everything.
True, sir. These are not actually in the order, but I'm just giving the.
Otherwise, you have to make a video of everything.
Yes, I understand, sir. I understand. And basically, I'm actually glad that your insights is like a certificate for what we are trying to do, especially the space is pretty new and this is generally used by sports persons, like having a personal mentor or personal coach, which is not affordable to normal students. And nobody ever cared about getting this or decentralizing this. So far, the results have been quite encouraging. And thanks to you, sir, because the previous conversation which we had at your office, that's where a lot of things begin. And now we have trained more than 1,500 students in the last 5 months, and we are growing really fast now that the edtech sector in India is also booming. So everything is going great, sir. So if you can spare another 5 minutes,
no problem. I've got, Kanika Reddy, somebody had raised that hand.
Yes,
so
exactly, sir. That's the question.
No problem. They can raise a question. So I've got about, my exit time is about 6:15, 6:20.
Perfect, sir. Thank you.
So
sir,
if anybody can ask questions.
Yes, sir. First, Kanika has a question. She is asking, how can you increase your inner desire? So that.
See, in the morning, if you have got the same energy, in the night before you go to sleep, you've got the same energy. In the afternoon, if you have the same energy, that is what will make your desire go. I should be fresh as at 4 o'clock in the morning, 12 o'clock in the afternoon, 6 o'clock in the evening, and 9 o'clock. And at no point in time, I should give it up. If I can train my brain that way, I will be able to achieve anything. That is what you have to train. Nobody else can do it.
I understand, sir. So once again, it boils down to your physical health and mental health. So the core fundamentals.
Give importance to physical health.
Okay.
Mental health automatically takes over. And
Yes,
if
sir.
you have that desire, obviously, because that's what I'm saying, you go and play, run,
True.
play sport, sweat yourself out, come and take a shower, see the freshness, and do it in the morning. See
Absolutely.
the freshness in the morning, you will achieve anything.
Right, sir. Totally agree. Guys, last 2 questions. You can raise your hands. I'll unmute you. Any specific questions to sir?
Yeah, anybody can ask. See, the reason I said 6:20 because 6:30 is what I have to go for my play. So that's why.
Yes. I know that. Guys, last 2 questions. Bhavesh, you had a question. You pinged me.
Anybody can ask questions. So there is no last or 2, but you can ask questions, or you can put it in the chat box. I'll answer questions faster.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And speaking, okay, the fear is what drives you away from success. Make mistakes. English is not your mother tongue. Communication is what you need to achieve. Whatever the language you speak, but if you have the ability to communicate, that communication is what is between you, what you study, and what you write. That is communication. That is not reading or studying. Communication is what I write and what the examiner thinks that what you've written is appropriate. That is what you have to learn.
True.
Fear pushes you down. If you've got fear, don't think that you will be able to succeed. Be fearless.
Yes, sir.
But struggle is yours.
Yes, sir.
Struggle is always yours. And never ever give up on that. Other thing which I missed out is helping others.
True.
If you do not train your mind to help others, then you are lost to be as a human, no matter how much you achieve.
Absolutely, sir.
Include that as a part of your routine to help others. You may be not having time to study. In fact, I used to teach somebody, even though, during that time, the guy used to come and say, can you teach me something on accounts? I used to teach the other person. But what I achieved more is by teaching them, I was able to do that. Okay, there are some questions which are coming up. So let me see what it is. How can inner desire be received? Boss, which is the desire which you like most? If you love movies, that is one. If you love someone, that is another one. If you love eating, that is your desire. So have that inner desire to plan it. What is that you want to achieve? Don't do comparison. No two people are comparable. And that is what makes huge difference. So Balaji has got, sir, how to change the mindset of a person who's seen failure repeatedly in CA exams for years, and how does he change his attitude to achieve success? Failure is a lack of preparation. Failure is not because you have attempted something. There is the gap that in your learning. Why I'm saying there is a gap in your learning? Every time we say, sir, I studied so much. The point is, you go and reflect upon, that's what I'm telling you. What is that have you learned? Where are you missing out? If you can't get a 17 one subject, a 16 another subject, a 15 another subject, and a 14 another subject, you will not be able to pass any exam. You should be having your trump card.
Yeah.
Like in a cricket match, there is a guy who will come and slog. There is a guy who will go and bat like Rahul Dravid. There is a guy who's the weakest guy who will go and get out like a Sehwag. He either hits it or he gets out. 70, who is your trump card. 60, who is a moderate operator. 50 is an average guy. 40 is something which is beyond you. If you plan that, every exam you will pass. The time when I passed, this is the same philosophy, same methodology I used. But I used to study 18 hours a day. I would have covered 6 to 7 or 8 or 10 books. And I would have done every question from that book, every example from that book. I would have made so much of notes that my whole home itself used to come. And I gave it to somebody who was to pass like that. Okay, so that is what you have to do. Next. How to stay motivated through the journey of learning. Motivation, there is nothing called journey of learning. If you don't think that you're not able to get anything registered, just leave the books and go. Go for a walk. Do some breathing exercise. Do something. And then come back and say, okay, let me finish this. In the journey of learning, there is always what is called the most attentive thing that you need. The most toughest. That means you should work on the hardest task when you are the best of the time, and do something when you're weak. So I used to do, if it used to be accounts, it used to be later part of the time. If it used to be auditing or something, some theory subject, it should be early in the morning. Because what happens is, when you're studying a theory subject, you need concentration, focus. But if you're doing a mathematics, you have to only think, look at this and write. So there is a difference that you have when you do. So you need to plan that way. How to stay active all the day and stay positive thoughts at all the day? Go to bed with positivity. Start your day with positivity. No matter what your pain is. If I say I'm positive, it will be. If you go touch wood so far, I've never gone to my office all through these years saying that I've got fever, I'm taken off. It's not that don't have temperature. I'm also a normal, ordinary human being. But I did not reflect. I had a major accident where my legs got injured, my teeth got broken, my everything. I was on to the office with all of that next 2 days. The point is, if you give importance to saying that because of this, it really made me as a weak person, I'm hampered by this inability to move. My mind is also trained that. If I say, damn what the pain is, my pain is not as much as think through the labor the mother goes through when she gives birth to a child. That pain is equivalent to about more than 200 bones getting broken at the same time. If that being the case, this is no pain. You have to only go through the journey of that. How not to make a reason for health to not achieve a curve. If you give excuse becomes your reason. If you do not give any excuse, say, come what may with it, I will hit it. Train your mind, I will achieve whatever my challenges. How to overcome distractions, inner ones precisely. It's not about distractions, it is about your priorities. When you say distraction, your priority is not studies, your priority is something else. And that is what is called as distraction. The day you look at that aspect of it, the way you will be able to address better. So folks, start focus. How important is time allocation to important topics and have courage to leave them? Never leave. If you leave in a cooking a salt, it leaves the taste. If you leave anything in any work, it leaves it. It's suppose a God has said, okay, today I've decided not to make you full. I'll just leave you like this. Would you like it yourself to be like that? I'll take, okay, today half hand I will take, tomorrow I will take the other one. So if the God has thought through it, then it will be difficult. So there is nothing called important topics. Every part of your body is as important as every part of the subject that you would cover. So therefore make that. Can I initiate good? Okay, what is that next one? Can I initiate good things, but I can't continue? Even if I have a routine for study for some days, let me see, even if I have studied, what was that? Let me open up the screen, sorry.
He's asking about,
can I continue, but I can't.
Yes.
Even if I have a routine study for continue, suddenly my preparation drops. My problem is my continuity. That's why I said, Gautam, your commitment is what you need to address. That means your commitment is not there to achieve it. You don't have the fear. You might say, I'm studying, I won't discontinue. No, that is not your priority. If it is priority, it's something like this. Let's put this way. I mean, let me take a very, very simple thing. You fall in love with a girl, right? And you want to go make that attempt to meet her, go see her. She doesn't want to talk to you, right? You start writing letters. How do you do it? You go at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. You know what time she will come, what time she will go, what time she'll. When you have that inquiry habit in you to do it, why don't you do it in your studies? It's as simple as that. Explore, take this as an example, saying that I want to achieve, I want to master this. His masters is what makes you achieve. Can you please repeat what you said about the hardest task? Should we do hard tasks in the morning or later in the day? No. I said work on your hardest task when you work the best, not within the morning or the evening. What I might do may not be the same for you. I have to do what is relevant. So when you think you will do achieve, that means suddenly you find one time where you're doing everything you're achieving and it's perfect, it's happening. Then you take the hardest one and do it. It's like solving a the cubes, right? The cube puzzles. If you can do that, the way you master yourself is what makes huge difference. All right. Thank you so much, Balaji. It's inside. It is not inside. It is your own efforts that you need to make yourself much, much better person. So there are no other questions. Over to you, Himakant. And I'm dot on 620.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So thank you very much, sir. Once again, it means a lot. And because I understand the way you inspire people, my sister still carries your card, sir. She has met you, and that triggered her to go and work for Big Four, and lot changed because fundamentally, one good presence, I would say even 10-20 minute interaction, that's life-changing and game-changing for many of them. And thank you very much for spending your valuable
I
time.
just want you to correct one thing here. There
Yes,
is
sir.
nothing called Big Four is Big Four. No.
Yeah.
I can work in a small organization yet be successful than a person who's worked in a big four.
Definitely, sir.
And
Totally.
I want that to be taken out from everyone, that Big Four is not God. Big
Yes,
Four
sir.
is trouble. Right? So therefore, it is important for you to succeed in anything you do. Arey, guy, you become an entrepreneur, like you mean to say him became successful because he's in Big Four? No. Him took the tools and then came back and making it implemented. That is what is making him a successful person. So never ever compare about big. Compare that how you can big yourself, be an entrepreneur and provide jobs to others. That itself becomes much, much bigger than somebody you go and work for. All right. In all of these, please help those people who are in need during this COVID times. Please contribute, even if it is 100 rupees, even if it's your effort, to make sure everyone is healthy and safe, because your support to all the people surrounding you makes things much more better. All right. So thank you very much. So I'll log you off with all your permissions. Have a very blessed day and blessed learnings. Keep enjoying learning. All right.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you. Guys, so how did you like the session? You can unmute yourself. Yes, I want your talk.
Sir, it is really awesome, Sajan.
Sajan,
so
yeah.
Clear thoughts, sir, have. It's something like amazing. So much
like
clear.
that. Pretty good. Pretty good. What else? What
I
did
hope
you like
you
about
understand from what point of thoughts I am thinking. Actually, so much clear thoughts he has given about even the desire, even the big fours, each and everything. It's really awesome. Really impressed.
Fantastic. And I want others to share your feedback, because whatever you said, I'll take it to sir. Fundamentally, he has spent some time, right? We need to respect that. So, and if you want to create a connect, I'll do it for you. So we are, anyways, whoever comes to him live school ecosystem will make sure it's a very pleasant interaction with us. So we take the feedback or the snippets of the students. So it's a good opportunity. Now just speak up. What did you feel? Genuinely, what did you feel? Quickly. You don't have to once again go back, shoot a video, all of that. Just speak right away. We'll take this to sir. Any message, anything. Yeah.
It was a no nonsense, no bullshit thing. It was like straight cut to the chase. This is the thing you got to do, and there's no excuses and nothing else should be there.
Absolutely.
It's very straight to the point.
It's straight to the point. That's what you liked it, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And who else?
So it was very insightful, and to know that problems have simple solutions, and something as basic as a routine can be taught at grassroots level. But that thing is lacking at the grassroots level, and it's a pity that we have to come so further in life and then try to understand that, okay, routine is nothing like a rocket science thing. So it was very easily explained how to achieve, what to set as a target as well. So certainly very helpful.
Good to know.
So
Good to know, Vinay. Thank you. Yeah,
do hardest thing at your best time. This is what I like.
absolutely. Right. So guys, I can get you more and more people. I have a very exact to contact list. But the point is, no matter whom you listen to, and let's say if sir has to come back again, even if I bring him tomorrow, it won't serve the purpose because you pick up something, you implement it. Every day, I just said, I would receive his message is the very first message. So it's just one text away and sir never says no. But the point being, take some time, pick up 1, 2, 3 things, just 3 things out of any session, put them into practice. Out of these 3 things, only one thing will generally stick. That's worth enough. Even if you're joining a 1 lakh course, even if you're joining a 1-year course, in terms of time or in terms of money, whatever you invest, there's one thing, one key thing which will change the direction of your life. So if you have like 4 or 5 things, that's it. Because he clearly says that when he wakes up at 4 o'clock and he goes to play at 6:30, he is having a powerful physique which gives him enormous energy. Now when you ask them, how can I be energetic at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and after working with Big Four for 25 years, you need to understand that. So after spending so much time, so you see people run away from that after 2 years, right? The point is you have to handle it. He actually makes very complex things pretty simple. So you might have picked up different insights. So pick up the one which you like the most. Please go and implement it. Please go and implement it. And you can always come back and question me, who is the next speaker, who is the next guy. I'll be proud and privileged to get you more and more access, even if it is about politicians. Tell me anything, anybody. If you are ready to learn, I'm ready to bring. Okay. So this sets up the context for our today's study hour. We have another 4 or 5 minutes. Make sure you study for at least 2 hours. Okay. 2 hours. Just go and study properly. We'll meet once again at 12 o'clock. So all those who want to come back, and we have Mr. Raghunath Akasam. He's another fantastic individual. And most importantly, he is into a very rare profile, investment banking, and he has created an empire of himself. So it will be very insightful for you. And those who want to get momentum right away, as promised, I'll wait for you for 15 minutes. So pick up your book. I'm sitting here. Go and get your book. Study for 15 minutes. Then you can take a break and continue. Okay. Others who want to go forward, please go forward. Otherwise, if you want to start the skimming, or if you want to start the prevision, if you have not done it already, just open your books right away. Even I'm carrying my book.
Sir, I have a question. Can I ask now?
Yes, Bhavesh, please.
सर जैसे सर ने बोला कि अगर 70 मार्क्स एक सब्जेक्ट में, 60 एक में, 40 एक में, 50 एक में, ऐसा अगर अपन सेट कर ले तो अपन फेल नहीं हो सकते.
That's what we do, right? King subject, queen subject. That's what we do.
तो अगर सर जो सिलेबस है उसका अगर 60 मार्क्स अगर मैंने एम करे हैं तो मैं 80 का कवर करूं, है ना, और रिमेनिंग छोड़ ही दूं. लाइक आई एम नॉट गोइंग टू टच इट इन दिस 1 मंथ, है ना. ऐसे ही मतलब कि अगर 40 मार्क है तो मैं 60 का कवर कर रहा हूं, बाकी छोड़ ही दिया.
See, he started with one thing. When I said, sir, students are worried that they're having their exam in July. Do you remember what did he say? Exams were supposed to happen in May 21. He's saying May 21st of May, or let's say May 20th of May. Now what is happening? He was very straightforward about it. Ideally, you should be ready by that time. So when the strategy is coming out, he's talking about 70 marks, he's talking about 60 marks, he's mentioning that. Number one, I'm pretty sure that scoring 70 is quite difficult. It's actually difficult. It's not just 10 marks. The difference between 40 to 60 is actually much higher than 60 to 70. If you look at it, you can increase 20 marks there, but after 60, it's very difficult. But what sir was trying to tell you is, you need to pick up your strength. That there should be one strong subject. That is the reason why I kind of translate that into king subject. When I say 60 marks, you should be focusing, and it translates into 55, probably somewhere around that. So you'll understand your game. That is number one. And number two, there are many things, if you closely observe, there are many things sir would contradict to what I say. And even if I bring Sharvari, if I bring anyone else, there are many things where individually they contradict. And that is the reason why I keep bringing people not to agree to what we are saying, only to contradict, so that you need to have the dual dimension. Now, one hand, I'm saying it would be better if you study one subject per week. And second, before you think, I'm also saying it could be boring for some of you. So the game is all about what is that one thing which works best for you. So now, if you're still stuck with which is better, internal audit and stat audit, anybody can only give you a clear perception of what happens in internal audit, what happens in stat audit. This is where we can get, at the end of the day, you are the only one, because only you know you. I can't come and jump into, and I don't have that time, or you cannot afford to have somebody's attention to that deep level. Probably I could do it for my sister. I can't do it for everyone, right? So even if somebody out there can help you in that matter, it doesn't come till that point. So you have to pick up two things and adopt what works for you. Now, in this 1 month, if you see that your syllabus is not getting covered, if you see that there are a lot many things which are pending, so you obviously know 70 is not on the cards, right? In ideal case scenario, if you're writing one group, if you've already done many things, probably yes, it is possible. When you have only one group, yes, you can think about it. But in this scenario, when you have 8 subjects, you have to mellow it down. Probably should look at 60 marks. Probably should look at 55, 58, whatever works. Or for some people who are extremely good, probably they can look at 80 also. What is there? So you understand the framework, you understand the essence, you map it with the practicality, you map it with your ability, then take the steps forward. And once again, I'm telling you, every question has an answer, but at some point, don't start creating questions for every answer. So it's endless. I'm somebody who is telling you to think critically. I'm someone who will encourage you to ask questions. But at some point, it has to be reasonably conclusive. Otherwise, it's endless. The debate will completely end. So on a given day, have a cutoff. On that day, get the available information and take a step forward. If you come back to this program 1 year later, if you come back to the same mentorship program, you'll see at least 10x difference. Now, the point is, right now, in this capacity, with my experience of the last 1,500 students, I'm giving you X. If I have another 5,000 students, it will further get. Apple 1 is different from Apple 12. So you at any point of time, you don't get that absolute thing which is right, because that does not exist. Everything with 100%. So you look at 2 or 3 books. You just have to decide, I'm going with this, and I'm going to execute this. Once you take, don't look sideward. Just go forward and execute it. That is the best way to work further from now. Okay. That's okay. I've made my point. So we'll discuss further in the session. Right now, just open your books, all of you. Open your book. I'll be here with you till 6:45. Whoever is sitting, switch on your video. Switch on your video, guys. Yes, actually, others you can feel free to leave. Those who want to build momentum can stay back. I'll be here for 10, 12 minutes. Okay. Yeah. So guys, please try to continue till 8:30 at least. Ideally touch 9 o'clock till 8:30. Just complete, finish your breakfast. 10 to 12. Once again, we'll meet exactly at 12. And that is going to be a different dimension altogether. Okay, we'll meet all at that. Continue. Yeah.